There is a question that has haunted philosophers, scholars, and ordinary men for centuries. Who are we? Most believe they know the answer. A name, a face, a collection of memories. Yet what if everything you believed about yourself was a lie? What if one day you discovered that you were not who you thought you were? Tonight's case is not about monsters lurking in forgotten places. It is not about ancient gods or cursed relics. It is about something far more disturbing, the horror of self-discovery, the horror of realizing that you may be a stranger not only to the world, but to yourself. This account was first documented by a man who spent his life searching for light. Only to discover why darkness had claimed him. My name is Dr. Edmund Ashcroft, and this is log number 001, The Outsider. There are many forms of horror. Some fear what lurks in the dark, others fear what waits beyond death. But there is another terror, a terror far more intimate, the terror of discovering who you truly are. Tonight's case concerns an unnamed individual. No records of his birth exist, no record of his family survives. Only this account remains. The account of a man who spent his entire life imprisoned within an ancient castle, a place so old that even its stones seemed to be rotting. He remembered no parents, no caretakers, no friends, only endless halls, ancient books, and darkness. The castle stood surrounded by a forest so dense that sunlight never reached its walls. For years he lived there alone. The only companions he ever knew were rats, bats, and spiders. Yet despite his isolation, he dreamed. He dreamed of a world beyond the trees, a world filled with light, a world filled with people. And one day, he decided to find it. Deep within the castle stood a ruined black tower, the highest structure in the entire fortress, a tower so dangerous that any attempt to climb it could easily end in death. But the desire to see the sky had become stronger than the fear of falling, and so he climbed, higher, higher, and higher still, for what felt like an eternity, until finally he reached the top. Or so he believed. What he discovered instead was impossible. The tower did not open into the sky. It opened into a crypt, a forgotten burial chamber beneath an ancient church. The castle he had spent his life exploring had never risen above the earth at all. It had been buried beneath it. For the first time in his existence, he saw the moon. And for the first time, he walked among the living world. He wandered for hours, crossing fields, rivers, and abandoned roads, until he eventually arrived at a magnificent manor illuminated by music and celebration. Through its windows he saw people laughing, talking, living, everything he had ever longed to experience. And so he entered. The reaction was immediate. Every person in the room screamed. Panic erupted. Guests fled in terror. Furniture overturned. Doors slammed. Within moments, the celebration had become chaos. The man stood frozen, confused, terrified. What had they seen? What horror had entered the room with him? Then he noticed movement. A figure standing beneath a gilded archway. A creature so hideous, so unnatural, that words failed him. Its flesh appeared rotten, its face twisted by decay, its body little more than a walking corpse. Unable to look away, he stumbled forward. The creature moved closer and closer, until finally he reached out his hand and touched it. In that instant, everything became clear. The monster was not standing before him. It was standing within a mirror. The horror he had witnessed was himself. The ancient castle, the crypt, the darkness, the isolation. They had all hidden a terrible truth. The man was not human, not anymore. Perhaps he never had been. He had spent his life among the dead, believing himself alive, only to discover that he was the very thing others feared, and that may be the greatest horror of all, because sometimes the monster is not hiding in the darkness. Sometimes the monster is the one searching for the light. Perhaps that is why this account endures, not because of the castle, not because of the graveyard, not even because of the monster, but because every one of us fears the same thing, that beneath the identity we have built, beneath our memories, beneath the stories we tell ourselves, there may be a truth we are unwilling to face. The outsider sought acceptance. He sought companionship. He sought the light. And when he finally found it, he learned why it had always remained beyond his reach, a tragic fate, or perhaps an inevitable one. I leave that judgment to you. Until our next meeting, remember, the most terrifying discoveries are rarely found in forgotten ruins, and sometimes they are found within ourselves. This is Dr. Edmund Ashcroft.